Alright, so just installed this Midea 8000 BTU U-shaped inverter window air conditioner. I have my kilowatt power meter on here. Been doing some testing today. Midea does not give you very much information about the variable capacity and how it works and some of the things you can do in the app. A lot of things I had to figure out on my own. I reached out, emailed them like a week ago, sent several emails. They never answered back. So I guess their customer support isn't so great. But I've been able to come up with some of my own calculations and my own observations, just learning a little on my own. So this morning it was about, I think, 68 or 70 degrees out. And the lowest wattage I could get this to run at was around 160 watts after it had been on for a while, so it could stabilize. And the energy efficiency ratio, or now they call it a CER. Don't confuse that with SEER with an S. That's a little different. That's a inflated, exaggerated number. But anyways, so if you multiply that 15 times 160 watts, it gives you around 2400 BTUs. Well, now it's a little warmer outside. It's around 80 degrees, and the lowest I can get it to run is about 190 watts, which is about 2800 BTUs. So it varies its BTUs not only depending on where you set the room temperature compared to the current temperature that it already is in the room, but also depending on the outside temperature. And what I noticed is it seems to actually read its own outdoor temperature. It must have a sensor somewhere, because I checked with 3 weather stations in town, and this was reading like 1 or 2 degrees lower. And then when the unit shut off, it actually read 2 degrees warmer, so it might not be 100% accurate. When the unit is on, it might be feeling some cold air somewhere. I'm not sure. Maybe it's feeling some of the cold water drips off the coils and then goes down into the pan. So maybe it could be reading some of that cold water in the pan somewhere, even though I'm sure the temperature sensor is outside probably. But the fact that it would even read 1 or 2 degrees cooler makes sense, because we're up on the mountain, which usually is 1 or 2 degrees colder than it is in town. So that sounds about accurate. I have yet to see what temperature it reads when the sun hits the unit directly. That would probably warm it up a little bit. But now here's the highest that I've seen it run. This morning, I think when I turned it down all the way to 60, the highest wattage I can get it to hit, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 360 watts or something like that, which equaled out to like 56 or 5800 BTUs, something like that. It wasn't anywhere near its full capacity. But now that it's 80 degrees outside, I cranked it all the way down to 60 a little while ago, and I forgot exact how many watts. 535. Yeah, it was staying between like 530 and 540, average about 535 watts, which came out to right about 8,000 BTUs, or just a little over. So when it's hotter outside, it can hit full capacity, which I think that's fantastic. It's really quiet. You'll notice right now it's super quiet. It's on its lowest speed. When you put it on auto, I've noticed it actually has it seems to have about 2 speeds lower than low. It just won't display it. If you use the app, you can even customize the fan speed anywhere from like 10 to 100%. But I've just noticed, like right now, if I drop it down 1 degree, it'll go up to the next speed. If I drop it down 68, it'll go up to low, 67 medium, 66 high. So it kind of seems to have about 5 pre-built-in fan speeds when it's on the auto mode, and it depends on how cold you set it versus how cold it currently is in the room. And each time it drops a fan speed, it'll also significantly change the amount of wattage it's pulling, because every time you change a fan speed, it's not like other window air conditioners where you're just increasing the fan speed up or down slightly, like 10%. No, this, instead, the maximum fan speed is like 476 CFMs, and the lowest is probably like 48 CFMs, which is like 90% lower, right? So every time you change a fan speed, it changes the speed on the compressor also and changes its capacity. It's very different from other window air conditioners. That's great if you're in a room that, like this is going to be a game room with computer stuff. So sometimes when all the gaming stuff's on, it's going to produce more heat. And then when no one's in here, there's not going to be that much heat in the room. So variable capacity is really great for things like that. It's also usually good for moisture control when you have variable capacity. But that's one flaw I've already noticed on this window air conditioner. Even with the eco mode on, when the compressor shuts off, the fan stays on for a little while, which throws moisture back into the room off of the evaporator coils. So that is one thing that really bothers me. The other thing that's really an issue to me is I've noticed all day long, on average, this unit stays about 2 to 3 degrees lower than what you set it for, and it won't even shut off until it's 4 degrees colder than what you set it for. And then it won't turn on until it's exactly what you set it for. So what you end up with is this whole 4-degree range and fluctuation of temperature instead of staying where you set it. I like an air conditioner to stay within 1 degree of where I set it. 4-degree fluctuation, that means you're going to constantly be hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and that's just no fun for anyone. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. If that doesn't bother you, go ahead and get it. But for most people, I think, and for me personally, I actually wouldn't recommend it. If you like constant temperature. So that is one big thing that really I was kind of surprised by. But I've also noticed that with Fredrich, however you say it, air conditioners, they have that same problem, huge fluctuation in temperatures. And then I've noticed, I've been keeping an eye on the humidity though, and the variable capacity does seem to help somewhat, because even though the fan stays on when the compressor is off, I've noticed the humidity in the room hasn't really gone up or down all day. Whereas if you use like a Friedrich air conditioner or a Frigidaire, they're so bad, the moisture will actually increase while the unit is on, which defeats the whole purpose of an air conditioner. But still, the best air conditioners are LG. You'll see the humidity levels drop with those LG units. The LG units, they keep a constant temperature. Depending what model you get, some are quiet, some aren't, but they're reliable, they last a long time. I really never find anything to complain about with an LG unit unless I happen to get one of the models that's kind of loud. But other than that, LG still is the king of air conditioners. Oh, and they do actually also now make inverter units. So I just wish they would make more sizes, because I think they only have like a 9,500 BTU and then a 14 and a 22 or something like that. And the nice thing about Midea is having the 8, 10, and 12. But, I mean, I'm still not that impressed overall. Oh, okay, so the app. I almost forgot to talk about the app. That was a pain to get connected and to figure out. Also, the installation instructions were terrible on this. So installing it took a couple hours. It took longer than any window air conditioner I've ever done. It does seal better, I will say that. But the instructions were terrible. The instructions on how to do the app were terrible. I finally figured it out after a while. That was a pain. And the really cool thing about the app, though, is you can use it like a programmable thermostat. You can set different temperatures at different times of the day. You can set a sleeping curve, so over 8 hours you can choose what temperatures you want, either going up or down over 8 hours. You can customize it, whatever times and temperatures you want while you sleep. Or you could just use the other timers, like I said before. It's nice that you can also turn the display on and off, but Friedrich air conditioners also do that. And you can make the air swing, but personally I just like it pointed up, and I really wish it would point up higher. It doesn't, the air, I can feel it here. See, I wish it would go like straight up towards it. Maybe I should go like this so you can see better. See, it shoots off at a little bit of an angle like that, but personally I like to be able to shoot straight up at the ceiling and then let the ceiling fan blow the air back down. I like shooting the cold air up because that's where all your hot air is. That way it helps move the hot air out of the room. Whereas if you have cold air going across here, and then your cold air is getting sucked right back in right there at that, you know, it's just not as efficient that way. So anyways, that's things that I've noticed, observed, tested, my thoughts, all that good stuff on this new AC.